Following service in the United States Navy and graduation from Yale University, Robert Engle flew his own aircraft to northern Canada, settling in Yellowknife. He flew as a bush pilot, then built his airline, Northwest Territorial Airways, and related businesses that have had lasting effects on transportation in the North. Born in Seattle on July 12, 1923, Robert Engle attended school at the Phillips Exeter Academy, established in New Hampshire in 1781, and after receiving his education there, he volunteered for active duty in the United States Naval Reserve during the Second World War. After the war, he left the Navy as a lieutenant and attended Yale University, graduating in 1950 with a Bachelor of Science degree. And that year, Bob sailed aboard his father's sloop on a cruise of British Columbia's Inside Passage to Prince Rupert, BC, and circumnavigated Vancouver Island. Bob's grandfather, William Parsons, had traveled to Dawson City in 1898 during the Klondike Gold Rush, and perhaps it was Dawson City's spell of the Yukon that lured Bob to visit northern Canada, when he flew his Cessna 180 on floats to Yellowknife in 1956 to pursue commercial aviation opportunities in the north, and soon found there were other attractions offered in the land he would adopt. Within 2 years, Bob was contracting his Beaver to Ward Air and flying an Otter and a Bristol freighter for the company, and by 1961 he had established his own operation, Northwest Territorial Airways. Purchase of a de Havilland Otter led to bush charter operations in 1962, and in 1963, to improve service, the Young Aviation Company added a Beech 18, which Bob equipped with wheels, skis, and floats to use the aircraft's versatility to land anywhere. And his favorite engine was a radial piston engine, the Pratt & Whitney Wasp Jr. on his Beech 18. The purchase of NWT Air's first DC-3, equipped with skis and wheels, soon followed, an aircraft that today is preserved at the Aerospace Museum of Calgary. After selling his bush flying operations, Bob built the first hangar at the Yellowknife Airport. NWT Air became the first airline to base heavy transport aircraft at its new facilities, and the new hangar was big enough to accommodate the company's biggest aircraft, including the Lockheed Hercules that would be added to the fleet 10 years later. In 1968, the airline began service to the Central Arctic coast at Coppermine and to other communities with the DC-3. Service increased again with larger aircraft in 1971, with purchase of 2 Douglas DC-6s, Bob's favorite aircraft, while he continued flying as the senior pilot for the airline. Bob Engle saw his company grow in size and service with larger multi-engine aircraft, eventually including Boeing 737 jet aircraft. During all this time, the company remained based in Yellowknife and focused on northern Canada.
NWT Air of Yellowknife took delivery of L-130 Hercules HPW in the late 1970s, when company founder Bob Engle acquired the aircraft from PWA. With exception to temporary assignments in Africa, the Gulf War I, and other jobs, the Herc has been Yellowknife-based ever since. Long before diamonds became big business in the Northwest Territories, the early 1990s was a period of intense exploration in the region. In the fall of 1993, NWT Air Herc HPW was engaged in an airlift from Yellowknife to the Salamita airstrip, some 160 miles north of the territorial capital.
Expansion of aviation services in northern Canada did not come easily, but Bob persevered over many years, with success in extending routes served by NWT Air. As well, Bob established other companies, including Northwest Transport Limited, to provide highway transport and truck service to complement cargo and passenger service of his airline. Honored many times for his contributions to the North, Bob Engle was invested as a member of the Order of Canada in 1990. Appointed as an honorary colonel to RCAF 440 Transport Squadron, and in 2007 a new industrial subdivision in Yellowknife was named for him, recognizing 50 years of contribution to the community. The founding president of the Northern Air Transport Association, and now an honorary life member, Robert Engle was a keynote speaker at the annual convention in Whitehorse in 2014. After arriving in Yellowknife as a young man with his Cessna 180 on floats, Bob Engle began a half-century of adventure in northern Canada with lasting effects on air transportation for cargo and passengers, as he continued to build and expand his airline from bush planes to multi-engine transport aircraft, in a life that provided the opportunity to entertain royalty in his home and meet Canadian prime ministers while involved in business and community activity. After selling his company and resigning as chairman and CEO, the routes pioneered by Bob Engle are still operating with aircraft service today, while leaving time for Bob to enjoy life with family, friends, and a lifelong interest in sailing. Robert Engle was inducted as a member of Canada's Aviation Hall of Fame at ceremonies held in Calgary, Alberta on May 29, 2014.